Hello everyone, Nick from Gorley Records here. I have something for you today. If you are trying to get more into music theory and learn a lot more about scales and modes, I have just a thing for you. I have assembled a cheat sheet for you for free that you can download in the description below, but I'm going to take you through what this bad boy is. Music theory is something so important, whether you're a producer, a keyboardist, guitarist, bassist, violinist, whatever you're doing, it is important to understand scales and modes because these are the foundations for every single chord, every progression, every melody. And if you don't really understand these concepts, it's going to be really hard to kind of connect the dots as you're playing multiple instruments or just making music or songwriting. And so I created a tool that made this really easy to understand because one of the main bitches about music theory, as I'm sure you have experienced yourself, is it can be very daunting to figure out where to start and what to get into. And there's all these crazy terminologies, but this I put together and it simplifies it a lot. So we're just going to kind of dive right into it and I'm going to show you how to use this thing. And if at any point you find that this is an immensely useful video, please press subscribe. Not a bad trade. Cheat sheet for a subscribe? Damn. Imagine what else you could get with such a quid pro quo if it existed, which it kind of does. Just press subscribe, damn it. All right, so to make this make more sense, I'm going to show you a piano roll in Ableton. It's just a really quick, easy way for me to highlight the notes. So I'm just going to run through an example of how you can use this chart. So the first chart you're going to see is the major minor scales chart. And it shows every major note, and then the first column, that blue column, is the root note of that scale, and then it shows you all 7 notes for that scale. All right, so let's say we wanted to find the E major scale. So we go to our chart, and we look at the first note, obviously, it's an E. And then the next notes are an F sharp, and then we got a G sharp, and then we got an A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and then back to E to finish off our octave. So now we got all 7 notes plus our next octave up. So now we got our major scale. So at the top of the chart, you'll see the major note 1 through 7. So obviously this is, E is the number 1 note, F sharp is 2, G sharp 3, A, B, going forth to the 7th, and then the 8th note would be the next octave up. So quickly finding major scales like that is the first element this chart is used for. The other thing you can use this chart for is to find relative scales. So the main theory behind a relative scale is if you take any major scale, the 6th note in that major scale is going to be the relative minor. And then if you invert that and take a minor scale, the 3rd note of a minor scale is going to be the relative major. Excuse me. So when you look at the 6th note of the E major scale, you'll see it's C sharp, and you'll also notice in the top header that C sharp is the number 1, meaning root note, for the C minor scale. And so E major and C minor share the same scale because they are relative scales. And so because of this, you can use this chart to find these minor scales. So if we come over here and we want to make now our C sharp minor scale, we go C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, and then C sharp. And that gives us our C sharp minor scale. So here on the left side, you have an E major scale. And here on the right side, you have the C sharp minor scale, which is the same notes, just the root note is C sharp minor. So same notes, but you see how when you just start with one versus the other, you get a different vibe. When you start with the E major, obviously it sounds like a happy major scale. If you start with the C sharp, it's the minor scale. So that's the general principle behind relative scales. You can go into a lot farther than that. So now we'll move on to the next element in the header of that major minor scales, which you'll see is chord type. And so chord type is just referring to if you play whatever note in the scale that it's on. So if it's, let's say for the E major scale, the 4th column, the 4th note says that it's an A and it's going to be in major. So let's take our A there. And then, so standard 1, 3, 5 chord would be starting with that note would be 1, so the A would be the 1. Then you go up to the 3rd note from A. So A is 1, B is 2, C sharp is 3. So we'll throw C sharp in there. And then D sharp is 4, and then E is 5. So that's our standard 1, 3, 5 chord. And if you play that chord, it's a major chord. And so that just tells you what the chord type is for that. So you'll also see under the 2nd column, for example, that it says that F sharp is a minor. So let's jump to our F sharp. So our F sharp is the 1, and then you go up to the 3rd. So skip G sharp, go to A, that's the 3rd note, and then go to the 5th. So skip B, which is the 4th. So C sharp is the 5th. So now if I play that note, it's a minor note. So the chord types just let you quickly reference what the chord type is. So if you're playing a chord progression, that's a 1-4-5 chord, which is really standard chord progression. If you're playing the major scale, a 1-4-5 in that scale would be all major notes, and a 1-4-5 in a minor scale would be all minor notes. So that just really quickly tells you what the chord type is going to be. So when you're making a song, you get an idea of whether the chord's a major or a minor. So that's the main principle behind the top chart. Just makes it really easy to find the scales and just start playing the scales and just really quickly, learn a new scale. Like if you wanted to learn a quick scale, you just learn the 7 notes, then you can apply that to anywhere on the keyboard. Makes a great fan too. Summer's around the corner. You're gonna need a little desk fan. This ain't a bad way to go. Get it laminated, make it stiff, feel great. This is a free cheat sheet and free air conditioning. So think about that. So the second part of this chart, at the bottom, you'll see is music modes. So the 2 standard music modes we always hear about are major and minor, but really there's 7 different ones you could be playing in. So Ionian is what's considered the standard major, and it's more of a bright sound, but there's actually one mode above that called Lydian, which is even a brighter sound, and then an Aeolian is the standard name for a minor scale, but there's actually 2 more modes below that, which are even sadder than a standard minor scale as we know it. And so what the music modes chart does is it lets you see how these notes are broken down, and there's 2 columns for seeing how modes are constructed. So the first column you're going to see is note modifications of how they are modified from the major scale. And so if you see the blue row there for Ionian, which is the major scale, you'll see it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's just saying these are the 7 standard notes of the major scale. So the 1 through 7 would just equate for the E major scale. It would just equate to these notes that we already have on our screen here. So for example, if you wanted to hear what the brighter scale sounded like, you just take your regular major scale, and all you have to do between an Ionian and a Lydian, which is even brighter, is you just have to make the 4th note in that scale a sharp note from major. So you take your major scale, take the 4th note, which is an A, and just bring it up 1 semitone to turn it into an A sharp. And that's supposed to be brighter than the regular major scale, allegedly. And so similarly, and so if you wanted to make a minor scale from your major scale, all you have to do is you see on the chart there under Aeolian, which again is a regular minor scale, you just have to take your 3rd, 6th, and 7th notes of that scale and make them flat. So just drop all those notes down 1 semitone. So we take our 3rd, 6th, 7th, and just drop them down 1 semitone. And now we have our minor scale. Here's major, minor. So this column is just an easy way to modify any major scales to quickly find Aeolian or Phrygian or mixed Lydian, whatever mode you're looking for, you can find it. And then the second column you're going to see is the mode formulas, and what this is it shows you the semitones to the next note. And so this shows you how to actually construct a mode from scratch with just a root note. All right, so let's put this to work. So let's say we want to make an E minor scale or Aeolian. We start with our root note of E, which is what the R is. And you'll see in that purple row, the next note it says there's a 2. So the 2 just means you go up 2 semitones, and that's the next note, so F sharp. And then it says go up 1 semitone, so that's going to give us a G. And then it says go up 2 more semitones, gives us an A. And then we get another 2, that's a B. And then it says 1, which is a C. And then go up 2 semitones, which is a D. And then we're back to our regular one. And so now we have made our E minor scale just from a formula, which as you can see matches the E minor scale that we just made a second ago. So these formulas are actually really powerful, and if you memorize these formulas, you don't even have to use the rest of this chart. You can just start with any root note and be like, okay, an Aeolian is starting with root note and then 2 1 2 2 1 2. So if you remember that 2 1 2 2 1 2, you don't even need to look at this chart. You just memorize the formula and then you just work with the semitones from there. And then obviously on the back side of the sheet, it'll just have all the instructions of how to use this. So once you have it downloaded and printed, don't even need to watch this video anymore. You can just reference the back of the sheet. It's got everything explained. So that's my cheat sheet I made for you all. Download it for free below, and if you get use out of it, maybe subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to have more fun stuff like this for you, and I have some more music theory videos coming out, because I wish I knew music theory earlier on, and I didn't, but I know it now, to some extent, and I want to show you my shortcuts. And as always, have a wonderful day. Okay, we're not ending it like that. That was horrible. And I hope the rest of your day is wonderful, and I will see you around. Finger guns. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I got a new curtain. It's pretty nice.